NEVERLESS to EVERLESS aka NTE is about to release globally on April 29th, and in this video we will give you a head start on what you need to know on NTE's combat system. And without any BS, let's get right into it. The combat in NTE should feel like a hybrid of Wuthering Waves and Arknight's Enfield, designed to reward player decision making based on how you engage with the enemies, whether that's staggering bosses, parrying attacks, or applying status effects. Each character has a defined role, which makes team building more meaningful. At the same time, the system doesn't lock you into strict rotations. You have the flexibility to approach fights however you want. However, if you do want to optimize your damage and understand the system at a deeper level, this breakdown will help you a lot. So let's start with the fundamentals. Every character in NTE has 3 core abilities: basic attack, skill, and ultimate. On top of that, some characters will also have unique core passives that add extra depth to their playstyle, which can be used by holding basic attack. But the most important thing to understand early on is this: NTE heavily rewards dodging and parrying. At its core, NTE combat revolves around swapping characters to trigger Esper cycles, aka your reactions, and maximize your damage output through this way. And in this guide, we will break things down into 3 parts: basic combat fundamentals, Esper cycles, and character roles. Let's start with the fundamentals. Each character belongs to a specific element, aka Esper type, and these types are Cosmos, Anima, Incantation, Chaos, Psyche, and Lakshana. And on top of that, these characters will also have a role: DPS, supports, aka your buffers, and also survival, your tank and your healers. And also some characters will also have unique mechanics through their core passives, which further define their playstyle. NTE offers 2 defensive mechanics that also boost your offense, which one of them are perfect dodges. These are triggered by dodging at the exact moment, which is often accompanied by a red flash on the enemy, and when you trigger the perfect dodge, your characters will restore QTE energy. After a perfect dodge, you often get an opening for something called critical riposte, which is your counterattack. Your counterattack will deal extra damage and significantly reduces the enemy's stagger bar. Breaking the stagger bar will put enemies into a more vulnerable state, allowing you to deal massive damage. The other mechanic being parrying. This is often indicated by an approaching red circle turning into a yellow one. When you successfully parry, you will deal heavy stagger damage and instantly generate your Esper energy to max, which is your QTE. You can trigger this parry when the circle becomes yellow using a basic attack, or alternatively you can also use a skill or introing with a character while the circle appears. This makes parrying one of the most important tools in combat, especially for triggering faster rotations. But those 2 mechanics aside, your basic attack and skill still do play a major role in combat, as they are the most consistent way for you to deal damage and generate QTE energy. Now let's talk about the reaction system, aka the Esper cycles. Instead of traditional elemental reactions, NTE uses a QTE based reaction system. These are very similar to outro skills in Wuthering Waves, triggering powerful effects and buffs when activated. Now how does this work? Each character contributes to an Esper meter, which is located near your HP bar. You can fill up this meter by basic attacks, skills, and perfect dodges. Parrying, however, will fill this meter instantly, making it the fastest way to trigger cycles. Once full, you will hear a sound cue, and the character icon will glow. Activating it will trigger an Esper cycle. Now, there's something else that you need to know, which is called an Esper wheel system. Reactions are determined by how these 6 elements are positioned relative to each other on the Esper wheel. Only elements that are placed next to one another will trigger reactions. Here are some of the key reaction combinations. Here is an example of a reaction called Blossom. Pairing MC with Julian triggers Blossom. After triggering it, it would spawn a turret, and this turret would deal damage every 2 seconds, up to 3 times. Anima and Incantation, for example, will inflict something called Hex, which adds extra follow-up damage. Incantation and Chaos will inflict Scorch, which is a DOT. Chaos and Psyche will do something called Nova, which is a delayed explosion that will deal massive damage after 5 seconds. Lakshana and Psyche will inflict something called Stain. This increases the damage taken from Lakshana and Psyche. In the last example, Lakshana and Cosmos will inflict something called Remura, which this will slow enemies for 5 seconds and it can stack and refresh. Some characters can enhance specific reactions. Julian can generate an additional turret. You can chain multiple QTE activations to trigger multi-step reactions. For example, outroing from a Cosmos character to an Anima character to a Lakshana character. This will activate multiple effects like movement and attack speed reduction and also extra energy gain. There's another trio reaction called Discord. Discord will deal a large AoE damage and significantly reduces the stagger meter. Beyond basic rules, characters also have their sub-roles, which are the following: main DPS, burst DPS, damage, survival, dot, follow-up attacker, control, buffer, /damage boost, break specialist, healer, /shield, and lastly, damage redirection. The main character has a special sub-role called Instant Cycle, but as of now, we don't know if that's locked for the main character or not. And to quickly explain what it actually does, it instantly fills the Esper meter using the skill, which this enables faster rotations and quicker reactions. And that's everything you need to know about NTE's combat system. In conclusion, NTE combat takes inspiration from multiple games but blends them into something unique. It's fast, flexible, and rewards skillful play, especially if you enjoy chaining combos, perfect dodges, and reaction-based gameplay. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them by in the comments or join our Discord. We can discuss strategies and share gameplay together. In the next video, we will cover the gameplay loop and how to unlock the free S-Rank selector as fast as possible. If this guide helped you, leave a like and comment. I'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching and have a great day.